Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
So today we're unpacking, it's a whole stack of sources, really.
Yeah, quite a mix.
And they seem to lay out this fascinating blueprint for global peace, unity, freedom, big stuff.
Definitely big stuff. We've got ancient prophecies in there, economic ideas, modern institutions.
And even insights into what's, holding things back.
Exactly.
So our mission basically is to distill the core nuggets, see how these different pieces might fit together.
And figure out what this vision means for you listening.
Right. Now, just a quick note, some of these sources touch on potentially sensitive areas.
Yeah.
Economics, institutions.
Sure.
We just want to be clear. We're exploring the ideas in this specific material. We're not here to endorse any one viewpoint within it, just convey what's presented.
Makes sense. Ready to dive in.
Okay, let's unpack this.
What's really interesting, I think, is how these sources connect spiritual vision with very practical action.
Okay.
The blueprint sort of starts with these prophetic foundations. Think Micah chapter 4.
Oh, yeah.
It's presented less as poetry and more like a detailed vision. Nations learning, seeking guidance together.
And that incredible image. Swords beaten into plowshares.
Turning tools of destruction into tools for, cultivation, growth.
That's powerful imagery. And the bit about living securely under their own vine and fig tree.
Exactly. Individual security, freedom from fear. And the sources, they frame this not as some, pie-in-the-sky utopia.
More like a plan. A blueprint.
Blueprint, yeah, that's the term they use. Something humanity can actually build. Yeah. And interestingly, some sources even link this to specific events.
Oh.
Yeah, mentioning September 27, 2024, when the ATLAS comet was visible as maybe symbolically foretelling this shift. Kingdom come via disarmament, tying right back to Micah.
So linking a spiritual awakening to real world physical transformation.
Precisely.
Okay, so that's the vision. What are the nuts and bolts? How would a society like that actually function, especially, say, economically?
Good question. This is where the Jubilee principle comes in. From Leviticus 25.
Ancient stuff.
Ancient, yeah. But the sources highlight its core insight. It's framed as a kind of built-in economic reset button, cyclical.
A reset button. Explain that.
Well, every 50 years, property gets restored, people enslaved are freed, the land itself gets a rest.
So it's designed to stop wealth just piling up in a few hands forever.
Exactly. It works against perpetual poverty, ensures a baseline of economic justice, and these sources argue that's fundamental, a prerequisite, really, for true freedom.
Your economic situation affects your liberty. Makes sense.
Deeply. And you can see the relevance today, right? When we talk about debt relief, sustainability, intergenerational equity.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so vision, economic reset. How does something modern like the sharing economy connect?
Well, it's seen as a kind of practical modern expression of that swords into plowshares idea.
How so?
Instead of systems built on, depletion and individual hoarding, it's about collaboration, shared resources. Think horizontal governance, more peer-to-peer stuff. Decentralized, less top-down control, like ride-sharing or co-working spaces.
Okay, moving resources around smartly instead of wastefully.
Yes. Circularity, that's the key. Tool libraries, clothing swaps, transforming potential waste into shared value.
Right.
And this implies technology needs to be designed ethically, a vessel for divine wisdom, as one source puts it, prioritizing community, maybe using things like blockchain for transparency.
Interesting. So vision, economic base, practical models. What about institutions, the UN, others? Do they fit in?
They do. The sources mention structures like the Freedom Trust. Its role seems to be safeguarding individual liberties, constitutional values.
Protecting that vine and fig tree aspect.
Exactly, at a foundational level. And then you have the UN with its big mandate for global peace and security, including, importantly, disarmament efforts.
Which mirrors the prophecy directly.
Right. So these sources see institutions like the UN, when they're working well, as potential frameworks for achieving parts of this vision. They even point to the Uniting for Peace resolution as an example of getting past gridlock, maybe showing a path for, more decentralized decisions, even in big bodies.
But let's be realistic. There are huge barriers to this kind of unity. What do the sources say are the main obstacles?
Yeah, they talk about exposing Babylon, confronting the forces of division.
Metaphorically.
Yeah, metaphorically, yeah. It includes things like the straw man fallacy, creating false arguments to sow fear and distrust. and hierarchical agendas that try to maintain control by making big systemic problems look like just individual failings. There's this striking claim that this darkness, this division, is often a manufactured illusion.
An illusion. So the problem isn't inherent in us.
The sources suggest it's more like a system built on deceit, and the response they point to from Revelation is this call to exodus, not just physically. It's described as a more holistic disengagement from external systems, like maybe materialism, and from internal deceit, illusion within ourselves. It boils down to that choice, right? Matthew 6.24, you have to choose what master, what principle you serve.
And is overcoming this inevitable?
Well, the sources assert that light shines and darkness dissolves, but it's not passive.
Okay.
The light is described as an active force, embodied. It's kind of put on us to illuminate that illusion of division with love, compassion, unity, actively dissolving the barriers by how we live.
Wow. Okay. So pulling it all together, the prophecies give the vision, the destination.
Right.
Jubilee offers the economic foundation for justice.
The bedrock.
The sharing economy shows practical ways to collaborate.
Modern models.
Institutions can provide frameworks, ideally.
Signatures, yeah.
And confronting Babylon means seeing through and disengaging from those forces of illusion and division.
Exactly. It's a call for a pretty fundamental shift, not just systems, but consciousness. From self-interest to collective well-being, competition to collaboration, taking to sharing.
In the power to actually make this shift.
The sources emphasize it rests within us, humanity's conscious choices.
So this blueprint, it really weaves together ancient wisdom and very modern challenges. It suggests peace, freedom, unity. They aren't just vague ideals,
but tangible outcomes, achievable through, economic justice, collaborative systems, and that conscious effort we talked about.
It definitely challenges us, you, me, everyone listening, to look critically at the systems around us.
And maybe even more so, the illusions within us.
So thinking about this deep dive, what's maybe one small step you could take today to embody that act of light, maybe dissolve just one tiny illusion of division you perceive? Something to consider.